Okay, I'm just gonna say it. The Substance is probably the weirdest and most crazy film I've ever seen. Not just recently, like I have ever seen. And The Substance explored a washed actress called Elizabeth, played by Demi Moore, in which Hollywood execs want to bin her off and find someone younger to replace her, as they believe a younger replacement would be more beautiful and ultimately do better on the ratings than Elizabeth has. Elizabeth then tries a drug which is set to help her become younger and more beautiful in her eyes, and a literal second person who is indeed younger and good looking comes out of her back. Like, it's one of the most grotesque things I have ever seen. Catches that though, for 7 days these two people are separate. It's not the same conscience in each body. Elizabeth doesn't remember anything Sue, which is Margaret Qualley, does. Like, remembers nothing in the 7 days. And Sue won't remember anything Elizabeth does. We're showing a selection of rules as well about the procedure and the use of this drug, and mainly respecting the bond between Elizabeth and Sue, which ensures that the process sort of runs smoothly, that nothing bad happens. But of course, these rules are inevitably broken, as they would be. And to be honest, that's as far into the plot as I'll go, because this is something I think you guys, you just need to see this film. Like, you just need to see this. The message and the comment in general is really, really clear. It's about how society views women in Hollywood and women in general. You know, you've got Elizabeth being chucked out of her show just because the Hollywood execs don't find her that good looking anymore, and they want to find a younger, objectively better looking person. And it explores how this mentally affects Elizabeth, the original actress who's been booted out just because she's not good looking enough, effectively, just because she's older. And throughout the films, there are lines which Elizabeth has been told and Sue has been told, which are repeated quite a lot, just to harrow down this message a bit more. Like, one of them is Sue's told right at the end, you know, pretty girls smile. Puts the message into your brain even more. The director, Coralie Fargeat, sorry if I said that name wrong, abuse me in the comments or you like, I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry, really, really raises the chaos and crazy to another level in this film. You're sitting in your chair, right? You're watching what's happening on screen going, what am I watching? This is so mental. It can't get any worse than this. By worse, I mean like more grotesque, more, just more, you know? And then it happens again. It gets, the levels are raised, and then they're raised again, and then they're raised again. You're sitting there going, how is this director thinking this creatively? How is she thinking on raising the unhingedness, the grotesqueness that we've just seen, and it's been raised even more? I rate it so much, just raising the bar more and more throughout the film, which I don't think I've seen too much. This does relate to the body horror element as well, which is something brilliant. I don't really watch many body horror films. Never seen a Cronenberg film, Brandon or David, so I'm not too used to body horror, so it's the most I've ever seen in a film, and it makes me want to explore this genre more, and especially more of Coralie's work. I'm excited to see what more she's got in the bank. Also, really, really stood out to me was the acting. Just top notch. Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, Dennis Quaid. Those are the three performances that really, really stood out to me. They all embrace the craziness and the weirdness and the horror that is expected in this film, and they just put in such amazing performances. Demi Moore's incredible in this. She shows every side to her acting at different parts of the film, and really showcases what she can do. There are parts where she shows raw emotion, and there are parts where she just absolutely goes for it. Margaret Qualley is the same. She did great in her role as the that believes that she should be there over Elizabeth, Demi Moore's character, and just really upped the ante with the intenseness, which is what Demi Moore did as well. And Dennis Quaid was great. He was the misogynistic Hollywood producer who only really cared for ratings, didn't care about the best interest for Sue or Elizabeth, and he was great. He really took in the weirdness, really embraced it, really went for it, and I thought he was great. He put in a great performance. One little criticism I have is I think it is a bit too long, especially in the middle. There are definitely chunks you can cut out in the middle and still probably have the same impact of the ending, which was amazing, by the way. I thought the ending was brilliant. Really didn't expect it to go that way, to be honest, but I thought the ending was great. Didn't expect it to play out as it did, but because everything led up to this great ending, I don't think it troubled me that much. I didn't really care that it was too long. I mean, there were moments I was sitting there going, well, you know, this is dragging out a bit, but because everything led to this great ending, I wasn't really bothered by it. Okay, so this section right here is Oscars Watch. So basically, I'm just gonna, after every review, have a look and just see what I think this film could get nominated for. Mainly at the Oscars, but also this could overlap to other award ceremonies just because there are so much overlap between each award ceremony. So just because of how crazy this film is and how horror and weird and grotesque this film is, I can't really see the Academy nominating The Substance really much. This is not the Academy's kind of film. It's not what they would nominate. It's happened, but especially recently, it's really, really rare. But what is worth noting, I think its best chance is makeup and hairstyling. I think it's kind of got to get in. Despite of what I've just said about the horror, about the gore, I think it's got to get in. It's easily the best makeup and hairstyling of the year. And I haven't even seen a lot of the other films that are going to be playing in the award ceremonies yet. But it is the best makeup and hairstyling done all year. The practical effects and the prosthetics really, really had me terrified. And there were so many moments on screen where I was just screaming at what I saw, and the practical effects is just incredible that it was able to make me do this. If I wake up on Oscar nominations morning and see it's not been nominated, it's going to be quite upsetting, and it's going to be a real huge shame if it doesn't get nominated, but I think it should, and I think it will. Another category worth noting is sound. Do I think it's going to get nominated for sound? No. I think it's worth just keeping in the back of your mind, just because I think it was used really creatively. There was a lot of intense close-up shots that heavily focused on each grotesque act that was happening on screen, and there was a lot of isolation of single sounds. Like, for example, there's a bit where I think a lot of people have pulled this one up, but Dennis Quaid character's eating shrimp, and it's just specifically focusing on the noise of him eating shrimp, right? And there's not much dialogue, which puts more of an emphasis on the sound. And the final category worth noting is, of course, Demi Moore in lead actress. I think she put in such a great performance, like I said earlier, and she's someone who hasn't been nominated at the Oscars yet, which is quite... I thought she had been, so it's quite weird that she hasn't been. She has a Golden Globe, she has a SAG, she has Critics' Choice nominations, but I think she's overdue. I think she is overdue an Oscars nomination, but the fact that The Substance is a body horror, again, I think it's going to hold The Substance back for nominations. I would for sure recommend The Substance. I think you've got to go watch it just because it's so insane, it's so crazy, it's so weird. I think you've got to go and check it out. I think it's one of those where it's probably not for everyone. Like, body horror isn't for everyone, but I think you've got to check it out just to see it, because I went into this film not knowing anything about, Coralie and Fargeat, the director, not knowing really much about body horror, and I've come out going, I want to see more. I want to see more from Coralie Fargeat. I want to see more body horror films, and hopefully other people can feel like that too. I think it's definitely worth checking out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe and follow the socials, and let me know in the comments what you thought of The Substance, and I'll see you in the next one.